Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to Truck Talks. This is a show where I interview successful e commerce entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders, and ask them questions about their business story and also dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today, I'm really excited to welcome Michael Chou to the show. Michael is the founder of Midnight Scoop and also an aerospace engineer by profession. Midnight Scoop is an ergonomic ice cream scooper for hard ice creams. This ice cream scooper has a curved handle, which allows you to push into the ice cream using your arms and shoulders for more leverage and power. And in turn, this makes it easier to scoop the hard ice creams. And today I want to ask Michael a few questions about his entrepreneurial story and also some of the strategies and tactics that he has used to start and grow his business. So thank you so much for joining me today at Trip Talks, Michael.
Yeah, thanks you for having me.
So I know that you have such an interesting, and we were just talking about, aerospace and engineering. What you must really like ice creams. Like, what motivated you to start this business?
It was so I've always scooped ice cream in a certain way that complements our ice cream scooper. So I seem to have like more weaker wrists, and I've always used ice cream scoops in a pushing motion to kind of protect my wrists to keep them straight. So I would push into the ice cream with a scooper. So and there was never I couldn't find a product out in the market that allowed me to do that. So basically, I invented one, and that's how I kind of came up with the Midnight Scoop. I called it the Midnight Scoop because as a day job, I'm still an aerospace engineer, so I would work a lot of the business at midnight, through the night or whenever I could, basically in order to try to get the business off the ground. So I called it the Midnight Scoop. Um, from there, I'm still an aerospace engineer, as you said, um, and I love doing both, and I can't let go of either.
Definitely, I think both are interesting, and
Yeah,
aerospace engineering is definitely very interesting. So,
yeah.
what kind of skills like do you apply from engineering to building the scoop? Because ice cream scoop is such a widely available product. Like you could have, you can buy it anyone pretty much anywhere. What was that product improvement process like? What kind of engineering skills did you apply to make or improve the design?
Yeah, so it started with the shape, obviously. So once I figured out that I needed to design a handle to allow me to push into the hard ice cream. So I used my CAD skills as a aerospace engineer to first design it in 3D CAD, and then when we decided that we needed to move on, we would then make prototypes from the 3D CAD, and we do 3D printed parts, and just to make sure that the feel was good. And then we would choose the right material to make sure that the material is gonna, the actual product will last a long time. So I took an engineering approach and started from concept to prototype to then production, and like an iterative process. So we did go through a few different types of materials, and we settled on a stainless steel material. And we believe that now it's an heirloom product now that it'll basically last forever. So that's what we're pretty excited about.
So it's one thing to, as an engineer, you have a need, you found something that, a design that you can improve. But how do you go from there to creating a business out of it? So while you were creating the design, were you also researching on the other side, would there be a demand for this kind of a product, because at a higher price point, and
Yeah.
a lot of substitute available in the marketplace? Like, how did you think about creating a business out of this?
Yeah, that's a good question. To be honest, like initially, I didn't. I made the product because I felt like I would want something like this. So I was, and I felt like you know, like if I want it, maybe a lot of other people would want it too. This is when I first started. You know, I've obviously learned some lessons along the way to approach it differently. Now that we're more like involved in the industry. So, you know, I was just sick and tired of using the ice cream scoop in standard ice cream scoops in a way that I didn't want to use it. So I just did it. And I thought to myself at the time, you know, like, hey, if I know I can sell 100 or 1,000 of these, you know, I don't care. So I made it, I designed it, and, you know, I just started. And when I first released it, I put it on Kickstarter just to see, you know, how it would be received, and it just blew up from there, really. And everyone, you know, that's seen it are really excited about it. Anyone that uses it really likes it, and then we kind of grew up from there. So I didn't really to you know research, just think that, you know, it's not out there. I did try to search for a scoop that you know, but I couldn't find one. So that's kind of how I went about it.
And that's
But
very interesting. Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
you know, to go on from that a little bit more, is that our next product, which we want to basically grow a line of kitchen tools. So our next product, I did do some research to see, you know, what type of products people were in demand for, and then I created a product. And we're actually about to release that in a couple months, and it's going to be a pizza cutter.
So one thing that you mentioned was, you know, in terms of when you think about a business, the first step is thinking about, you know, some of the financing aspect of it. And you said that you put the product on Kickstarter, and did you have to do any marketing when you created the Kickstarter page, or was it just that the idea just made sense to a lot of people that they wanted to invest in it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it just made sense. I think there was a little bit, we did get a little bit lucky where when we were out in Kickstarter, obviously a lot of my people that knew me kind of supported it to get it a little bit off the ground. But there was somebody that found our product on Kickstarter and wrote about us, and wrote about us, and that kind of kickstarted, and that kind of helped kickstart us, really. That from that article, they wrote about how, you know, it was a unique ice cream scoop and designed by an aerospace engineer, and it kind of rolled from there. So
I think, you know, when someone says aerospace engineer, I think that makes a good angle for the story. So did that come just organically, or was there, like, did you reach out to people to create that story?
no, they kind of, the first person that wrote about it kind of conjured it up, you know, like just interviewed me, and because they liked the scoop, and just started asking questions, and they found this unique angle, and they kind of went with it. When they wrote about it, then a lot of other people kind of wrote about it, and that's how it kind of came about. So it was a little bit lucky, I think, you know. So I think we're in a good
Any
spot.
lessons in terms of finding suppliers, manufacturers overseas? What was your experience like in terms of finding a manufacturer? Were there any minimum order quantity requirements that you had to meet, and those kind of things? What can others
Um,
learn from your experience?
Yeah, not too, not too. We didn't really run into too much as far as like minimum order. We found that a lot of people did want to try to work with us. So it's, you know, I think it's almost like you have so many options. You have to try to filter out as much as you can. You know, you try to do your due diligence, and see how big they are, look at their company presentation, figure out how long they've been around. Those are kind of important things. And then really how well you communicate with them, because you're going to be communicating back and forth for a long time. You know, if how responsive they are, how well they are to work with, you know, you can get a lot of their personality just, you know, by talking with them, or even through email. it's pretty important, just vetting them and filtering out all the suppliers. You probably end up with like 2 or 3 that are your favorite ones, and you kind of keep going up to a point where you have to eventually choose one, and that's how you go. And for us, we chose the wrong ones a couple of times. We had to change 2 or 3 manufacturers for these. So, I mean, it takes a lot of work. So, there's no real shortcuts to it, I would say.
And the prototype process, I'm going to ask 1 or 2 more questions about this manufacturing aspect of things, because I'm very interested. Creating the prototype, I assume, because it's not, they would have to create some sort of a mold or something for creating this. Did they charge you for that, or did they do that because you had signed a contract with them and they knew that they would be the ones?
No, they usually would charge you for the tooling, even for like a prototype. If there's prototype tooling involved, they would usually charge you, but they probably would try to charge you their cost, so, and if you're it depends on the complexity of the part, sometimes you can negotiate like them to take on more of the cost of the prototypes. But they don't want to lose money, but they're probably willing to break even, at least until you go into production. For sure you're paying for the full production tool, but they don't want to lose you at the prototype phase usually.
But then you would own that tool, right? You would own that mold, or?
Yeah, you would for sure. Okay. Yep, you would own that tool. And it's sometimes I'm not too worried about like ownership of the tool as much as really just protecting myself or protecting the business from having our patents. I'm not too worried about the tool. Like if they need to make, sometimes if now that our orders are more higher, like they've been creating multiple tools, and I'm not there like counting which tools are what. I just make sure that no one else is selling our product without us knowing.
Could you share a little bit about the supply chain aspect of it? So because the manufacturing is overseas, how do you, and given that this is, I would assume this is a bit of a heavy product, given that it's solid steel and things like that. What has been your experience shipping this item? Like, did you ship it? Do you ship it by air? Do you ship it by ship? Do you work with some specialized companies, freight forwarders and things like that, that help you with this like, can you share a little bit, someone who's getting started, like what would be your advice if someone is trying to ship an item from overseas?
Okay, so for production and large volume, definitely you have to ship by sea. So as you know, we have like a pretty, like our scoop is about a pound, and I would say our box is like 8 inches by 3 inches by 4 inches. So one of those scoops, if we ship it by sea, it's about $1 for us to get each.
Okay.
From overseas. If we airship it, it's about $3.50 each. Okay. So that's a big difference in cost, especially like your cost of goods. So we definitely will try to ship it by sea as much as we can. If we're talking prototypes, definitely we would ship by air because it's a lot quicker. So by air, you're looking at about 5 business days from overseas. I would say definitely work with a freight forwarder and give them the dimensions, the weights of the product, and they can give you quotes as far as like how much it costs now. So a little bit also depends on the season. So if you're getting it from overseas, like right before Chinese New Year, shipping costs are probably sea shipping costs will be like 50% more a lot of times because everyone's trying to get out at that time and everyone's just filled to the max. So, take that in consideration as well. And definitely work with a freight forwarder. Just give them the dimensions and the weight, and they'll give you a quote exactly how much you would pay. So you add about 6 to 8 weeks for you to receive the product if you're sea shipping.
Sales channels. So I know you mentioned Amazon, and I know that you have a website also. When you started out, did you go directly to Amazon because they already have the traffic, or did you start out with a website, and now are you also in retail stores?
Yeah, so we started off in Kickstarter, and then right after Kickstarter, we had it on our website, which did pretty well. But like one thing about Kickstarter is Kickstarter has its own community of people. And after Kickstarter, we thought that we were like really popular. We thought it was like, oh, everyone's gonna like love it. And after Kickstarter was over, like still nobody knew about us. Like that. It's like almost like starting over again after Kickstarter. So we put it on our website, and it was doing okay, moderate, but we wouldn't be able to survive if we just kind of stayed from there. So then that's when we said, okay, we definitely gotta go on Amazon, because with our product, it's kind of unique where nobody's thinking, nobody's really doing a search for, oh, what's the best ice cream scoop on Google. It's usually if somebody needs an ice cream scoop, they're going to go on Amazon, they're going to search for a scoop, and they're going to look for like the best rated one or something that catches their eye. And when we started with Amazon, that's when we knew that we can be successful after Kickstarter. Kickstarter, we were successful. Then we were scared a little bit after Kickstarter. But once we got onto Amazon, we started to see more and more sales every year. And that's how I think it's more to our unique product, though. It's more of you go on Amazon to search for an ice cream scoop type of thing,
So Amazon is your primary channel. Do you do any marketing to drive your product sales also, or is it really?
Yeah, we do some sponsored ads through Amazon. So if somebody searches for ice cream scoop, we have some ads for that. That's about it, though. Nothing, no real banner type ads or anything yet. We are doing some ads for the launch of our pizza cutter. So we're trying to get some contacts so that we can, once we launch on Kickstarter for that, then everyone could be notified.
Okay. How many are you just in the US, or are you selling like globally?
We are selling globally now. We actually globally through Amazon, which is actually really nice. One thing that's kind of stopped us is that Brexit type thing with we had our supply in Amazon UK, and Amazon UK would be shipping scoops out to other European countries like Italy, Germany, France. So that like UK was the hub, and now now we have to have a hub probably like in Germany or something like that. So that's taken a little bit of time to try to develop or open up that channel.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing. Like if one is if your main channel is Amazon, if they change their anything, and that starts affecting your business, like do you have a backup plan? Like do you are you building like your website kind of a thing
For sure,
so that you have your own business, your own customers and things?
Exactly. Yep. We have our own website, and we do have, whatever we sell on our website, we have their contact information, which kind of helps with, growing our brand and our product too. Like, so our next product will be able to at least contact all those people and say that, hey, we are a new product. Through Amazon, you don't really have that. You don't have a contact list like that. I can't go to all those people and say that bought through Amazon and say like, hey, we got a new product now. It doesn't work that way. So for sure, we've got to try to do our best to grow the brand really, and any opportunity that I see, like, hey, this can help us, we explore, or like, oh, let's see this new channel of sales, like, hey, I think last year we just started to get on Wayfair, like, yeah, but we should definitely try it and see how it goes. Right now for sure it's not as good as Amazon, but you never know in the future.
So now we're going to move on to our rapid fire segment. And in this segment, I'm going to ask you a few questions and you have to answer them in one word or one sentence. So the first question is, would you recommend a book in 2021, a business or entrepreneurial related book to people?
Okay. I like Shoe Dog, the Nike story.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I explain why? All right. It's not like a really new book, but to me, I just finally found the time to read it, and I think it's good for entrepreneurs because you can read the whole journey of how he built Nike from nothing to $1 billion corporation, and there's a lot of stories, a lot of struggles, a lot of pivots, a lot of, really just kept it. The lesson really I learned is just putting your head down and busting through,
An innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you feel excited about?
I would say VR. I think that's I like that. I think it's a really good future, to be honest. It's I guess I can see it happening. We're definitely early from it, but if I was to tell my kids, to something to invest in now that maybe they'll eventually, be affected by their lives, I think that's what it'd be. Who knows? They might be going to colleges through VR or something like that. All through their house or something. They're at home and they're going to school VR. I mean, it's
it's not too far fetched. Yeah, I mean,
no, it's not too far fetched. Why go into why go into a classroom when you can just be, literally be virtual reality.
Yeah, a business or productivity tool or software that you would recommend, or a productivity tip.
Yeah, so when I kind of Jungle Scout, to be short. Jungle Scout, have you heard that one?
It's an Amazon tool, right?
It's a tool to search Amazon products, and we use that for the pizza slicer. So we use that to see demand for a product, and we found that there was a good demand, and then we designed a better pizza cutter because we knew that there was a demand, and we designed a better product, and then now we're releasing it. So I think it's a very cool tool.
Wow, so it actually works.
Yeah.
So
well, hopefully we haven't launched our product yet. It's pizza slicer, but it works as far as finding some demand. Yeah.
A startup or business in e-commerce, retail, or tech that you think is currently doing great things.
I like this company called ECommerce Fuel, and it's kind of he does podcasts, some of like interviews like you do, but he has a group of entrepreneurs, e-commerce entrepreneurs that do at least like $1 million in sales a year, and he has this group, and it's like he has a forum on it, and a lot of them kind of share ideas and learn from each other. And I think it's a very cool thing that they're doing.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah. Do you want to be part of that forum?
Yeah, no, I am. We are in.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. I just thought it was like a very cool idea. He used to have a couple of e-commerce websites, and that's kind of how I kind of found him, and he wrote about it and how he grew one, optimized one, and grew it, and then he sold it, and he documented everything, how he sold it and everything, and then he kind of grew this following, and then he started making podcasts and educational stuff, and then he formed this group a forum for message board for all these entrepreneurs. And, now it's like, if I have any questions or if I can answer any questions, I would. And it's just a group of entrepreneurs that were, pretty successful and, that need help.
A peer entrepreneur or business person whom you look up to or someone who inspires you?
I would say that person that does that ECommerce Fuel is Andrew.
What's his name?
Andrew Udarian.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty happy, with that whole group, and I think it's very cool of what he's been doing.
And that is
similar to, what's that?
That's an invite-only group.
Yeah, I think it's you can go onto the site and learn and have a lot of learning. There's a lot of learning stuff that he has for free and stuff. But the group of entrepreneurs, it's you can apply for it, kind of thing. And once you reach a certain amount of sales in your e-commerce, then he kind of lets you in, because they want to try to keep it so that everyone's kind of an expert. They want to try to find experts in the field, and that way it's very rich in information.
Okay. Finally, best business advice that you have ever received or you would give to other entrepreneurs?
I would say really just perseverance. Entrepreneurs always have in anything. There's always struggles for everything. You just gotta keep persevering. Nobody's road was easy. It's always, failure at any given moment. So you just got to keep going, keep pushing. If you love doing it, then, you end up pushing hard, and whatever roadblocks there is, it gets knocked down for sure.
Perfect. Those were all the questions I had today, Michael. Thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing your insights.
Thank you for having me.
This is the opportunity. If you want to share your website or where people can buy Midnight Scoop and things like that, please go ahead.
Yeah, so it's midnightkitchentools.com. We'll be launching our second product in probably about a month, and we're gonna have a Kickstarter for it. It's gonna be a pizza slicer. Basically, just like our ice cream scoop, it's going to be ergonomic and easy on your wrists, and and the quality of it will be there. So it's an heirloom giftable product, and it's going to be awesome.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Michael, for sharing your story, for sharing all the business insights. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me today at Trip Talks.
Thank you. I appreciate it as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.